Hi, and welcome to RecoverED, a podcast from the Magdalen House, a recovery community for alcoholism. We're a 501c3 nonprofit in Dallas, Texas, lovingly known by many as Maggies. Every first and third Wednesday, we drop a new episode from one of our 3 podcast series. In RecoverED, we share education for the community on alcoholism, our programs, and resources for alcoholics and their loved ones. In each episode, you will get to know more about the disease of alcoholism and the solution. I'm your host, Laura Wilson, a recovered alcoholic and the communications manager here at Maggie's. We're so glad you're here. Thanks for listening.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mayan and Corioso, very grateful recovered alcoholic. And I have been sober since December 17th of 2008, and I'm very, very grateful for that. We're so happy to be here. Angela and I had an opportunity. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Cooper, for asking us to be here. It was just, it's been a really cool journey the last couple months of like preparing and talking about this stuff that we're actually not doing all the time perfectly. And I get nervous when I do these talks, but I remember I used to wake up in my own vomit as an alcoholic, so it's not that serious. Thank you for those who have put this thing on. We just show up. This is the easy part. Thank you for all your service, all those that are a part of Maggie's. Angela and I both come to Maggie's on a regular basis. Been coming for years. And it's just been, it's been a blessing for both of us. It's been a blessing for our marriage. It's been a blessing for our family. So we just wanted to say thank you. And so we're going to read and hopefully share our experience. And we do have a lot of experience in recovery, and both of us being in recovery and just kind of going through the whole dynamics of this. And we love this chapter. And so we'll read and comment, and then at the end we'll answer some questions. So you want me to start?
I can start.
Go ahead.
Or do you want to talk about when they say the family afterward?
I'll do that.
Okay, all right. Okay. Our womenfolk have suggested certain attitudes a wife may take with the husband who is recovering. Perhaps they created the impression that he is to be wrapped in cotton wool and placed on a pedestal. Successful readjustment means the opposite. All members of the family should meet upon the common ground of tolerance, understanding, and love. This involves a process of deflation. The alcoholic, his wife, his children, his in-laws, each one is likely to have fixed ideas about the family's attitude towards himself or herself. Each is interested in having his or her wishes respected. We find the more one member of the family demands that the others concede to him, the more resentful they become. This makes for discord and unhappiness. Is that there? Yeah. So, this part about perhaps they created the impression that he's to be wrapped in cotton wool and placed on a pedestal. Sometimes we think that when the alcoholic is, after they've worked the step, they've had this experience, that we have to protect them from all the things in life. Why? Because we're afraid. We're afraid of relapse. We're afraid of lots of things. There's a part in the big book that says, that we were riddled with fear, and that's true for me. And the thing is that, and Mayan will share with this in a minute, that, he spent a long time avoiding life, like just trying to escape. And he has an opportunity now to live life and to experience life and the things that come with it. So that it's not my responsibility. And this is something that I learned through working the 12 steps, that it's not my responsibility to make their life so easy. Okay, that life is going to happen, that things are going to happen. I don't have to protect them from all the things that just happen, right? But there is a process in here that says, which part? Let me find it. They should meet upon the common ground of tolerance, understanding, and love. And some patience too, because it's not going to be perfect. Probably for a long time, I can say, it's still not perfect, okay? This idea I have in my head that while the alcoholic maybe had lived in a fantasy world, I too was living in a fantasy world of how things should be in my home, and not living in reality. So this part about having tolerance, understanding, and love, and the way that I found that I could have some tolerance and understanding and love, and for me was to first understand the alcoholic's disease, understand what was going on, that cycle that, we go over in the family support meeting. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please talk to me afterwards, because I'd love to share that with you. But to understand what you're dealing with, it's not just about the alcohol, that's what I think it is. And then some love too, and some patience that, some things are going to happen. It might be tough. It requires some time.
So the other thing is, for the alcoholic, on the alcoholic side, this is like, we tend to get, like, we go through the steps, we have this transformative experience with God and the steps, and maybe we're sponsoring people or going to carry the message. And now we're starting to like transition into this everyday family. And the word afterward is a little, for me, it's the wrong word to use, because this is, for me, the beginning. Like this, when I work the steps and I've had a spiritual awakening, that's the start. Okay, now I'm going to get readjusted with the spouse, with the family. And so 99% of the amends I have to make are between, like, at my house. So the family afterward is, or the family in general, in regards to my recovery and living these principles, this is going to be the most challenging place that I'm going to do that. If we think about it, what do we 10-step about? Our work, right? And our family. And so there's just some cool stuff here. And then again, like she was saying, this fantasy of what it's going to look like now that I'm sober, I'm the hero again, walking into the house and everybody's got to fall into place. We're going to cover this, but that is not reality. And there's just going to be a long, long road of reconstruction ahead. And we were talking about this because we were like, yeah, there's some things that we're still struggling with or not doing great. And I think that's amazing, because that means I still have to work my program, right? I still have to apply these principles on a daily basis. And so I'll pick up here. It says, and why? Is it not because each wants to play the lead? This is not the first time that the alcoholic has read this, but this may be the first time that the family member kind of understands this language. But is not each trying to arrange the family show to his liking? Is he not unconsciously trying to see what he can take from the family life rather than give? Cessation of drinking is but the first step away from a highly strained, abnormal condition. A doctor said to us, years of living with an alcoholic is almost sure to make any wife or child neurotic. The entire family is to some extent ill. That families realize as they start their journey that all will not be fair weather. Each in his turn may be footsore and may straggle. You want to share on that? You want me to share?
You can share first, yeah.
So this is really good for the family to hear this, because as an alcoholic, when we're going through this process, we've heard this before. Like the long road of reconstruction ahead, this is just the beginning. But you need to understand, but then we forget. And so it's kind of like a cool reminder for us when we're at this phase in our recovery, because we do forget. And it's easy on a Wednesday afternoon when stuff's not going my way to forget that there's a long road of reconstruction ahead. And the one thing, and I've made every mistake that a quote unquote recovered alcoholic can make in regards to the family. And so we can talk about that. But the one thing that we don't want to do is, I don't want to go show this to the wife and the family and say, this is what we're going to do now. That doesn't work. It's just going to take some time. And I tell guys that I sponsor, I truly believe that when they were writing this book, they understood, and the example that they gave when it came to making amends was last. Like, the family was last. They talked about all these other people. The person that we hated was first. We'll never see them again. We go make amends to them, we'll never see them again. But this family's dynamic it's gonna take some time, it's gonna be last. And I think there's a reason for that, because for me to check the box and go make amends and everything's good now that I'm sober is not reality. Like, it's just not. They're gonna need to see some, and I've had guys do that, and I've done that, and then all of a sudden I show up drunk and then where does that go? they're going to need to see some evidence that this thing is actually working, and it's going to be beyond what I'm going to say or try to get them to do. And so, but this idea that the family is sick is something I needed to be reminded of, that I play a part in that. And so, like, when I'm pointing out her defects or, you know, quoting the big book and stuff that I would not recommend doing, especially when your wife's pregnant and, like, she's complaining about, do not quote the big book, okay? It's just, for all sides, just really understanding that we're all going to need to heal, and it's going to take some time. I'll let you share.
And real quick with what he said about don't quote the big book, I really thought it was just some like cult thing that, oh, y'all repeat the same things, y'all say these weird slogans, you do, you know, and you do you, I'm good, I will. And he said, we were talking the other day or last night, and he said, yeah, I could see your eyes glaze over when I brought up things from the big book. And it was true. I mean, I won't deny that. I mean, I had little kids running around and I was working and I was doing all this stuff, and I was like, you have the problem, I'm okay. And then we read here, cessation of drinking is but the first step away from a highly strained abnormal condition. The family, the entire family is to some extent ill. I didn't know that I was ill. I didn't know. I thought I was really okay, you know? And then, you know, now they're sober, and then we realize, oh wait, there's still some things that don't, yeah, we're still not getting along. All those things that were happening before, like, it's still happening, you know? And they're sober. And sometimes when they're drinking, it's a little bit easier when those confrontation and conflict, sometimes, I will say that sometimes, conflict happens. But I needed to see, it's kind of like, there's a story about Lois Wilson, Bill Wilson's wife, that he was sober, and she got upset with him and she threw a shoe at him, and she realized, like, hey, I might have the problem now. He's like doing what I thought I wanted him to do for a long time, not drinking, and now I'm the one who might have a problem. So again, it's not all going to be fun and games. There's going to be struggle, but yeah, there's hope. There's hope.
And that's a good, I mean, for me too, especially when you're trying to live this way of life as the alcoholic, to understand it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. And there may be some disasters that happen. And it says, there will be alluring shortcuts and bypaths down which they may wander and lose their way. Suppose we tell you some of the obstacles a family will meet. Suppose we suggest how they may be avoided, even converted to good use for others. The family of an alcoholic longs for the return of happiness and security. They remember when father was romantic, thoughtful, and successful. Today's life is measured against that of other years, and when it falls short, the family may be unhappy. And again, and I think we can do this as alcoholics, but I would say for the family too, where there's just this idea that if I could just get sober, then I can kind of get back into the stream of life and everything will kind of work out. And I just need to get sober. And what it's saying here is it's not that easy sometimes. Did you want to share on that?
Yeah, because I think that's why it's so important to understand this disease, because the alcohol, we think it's the problem. Like, that's the problem, that there's still all that other stuff. You know, we talk about the body and the mind. There's still all that stuff that needs to be worked through, and the steps help to do that. But again, we're going to say this over and over. It's going to take some time. But yeah, and it's totally natural and normal to think like, and it can feel disappointing in some ways to say, oh, I thought we were going to have that happiness again. Like, I thought that, and then to feel, and then it's not. That can be hard, and there can be some resentment formed in us, and yeah. Thankfully, there is a way to deal with that. Those, you know, and we'll talk about it more about, you know, those people that do need to work a program, those family members that might need to work a program as well. And we'll talk more about it.
Go ahead, you can pick up.
Family confidence in Dad is rising high. The good old days will soon be back, they think. Sometimes they demand that Dad bring them back instantly. God, they believe, almost owes this recompense on a long overdue account. But the head of the house has spent years in pulling down the structures of business, romance, friendship, health. These things are now ruined or damaged. It will take time to clear away the wreck. Though old buildings will eventually be replaced by finer ones, the new structures will take years to complete.
Okay, I want to say this I'm actually talking as the alcoholic to the family members. I desperately want to restore these structures, okay? And I really want things to go well and get everything back the way it was, or even better, or whatever. I want those things to happen. I have a new way of living that tells me that I'm relying upon God and His timing. And just like with alcohol, like some of this stuff, I'm just as baffled as you are. And so I think it's sometimes, and especially when it's going to talk about this, I'm kind of doing my own thing. I'm maybe pouring myself into work or recovery, but deep down inside, as a real alcoholic, I want to make things right. I want life to be good. I don't want to be doing the things or have done the things that I did. And so I think all the family members are actually wanting the same things. It's just going to be in God's timing.
Mm-hmm. And I think the important thing there is that things this reminds me a little bit about, I forget where it is, but he'll remember. It says like my worst times now are way better than my best times before. True. And what'd you say?
No.
Okay, and I think that's what I was reminded of there. These old buildings that maybe I treasured because those good old times. To have some faith and hope that but finer ones will be formed. We'll be living. He's trying to live on a different plane, a spiritual way of living, and that. It's gonna be better, but just to trust, even though during those hard times, it's just, they say it over, it's a long road of reconstruction ahead. And that sounds depressing, but at least you're on the right path, mm-hmm. Like you're going somewhere and not, living.
And also it can be a lot for the family member to digest some of this stuff. Like, it's okay. Okay, I mean, resentment is common, and it's okay. And I may not be in a place where if I'm a family member, I even want to think about doing this, and that's okay too. But as the alcoholic, I have to live a spiritual way of life, or I won't make it. It says, Father knows he is to blame. It may take him seasons of hard work to be restored financially, but he shouldn't be reproached. Perhaps he will never have much money again. But the wise family will admire him for what he is trying to be rather than for what he is trying to get. Do you have anything on that?
I mean, it's just a really, if I can see that, like, what is he trying to be and become, rather than take from the family, So if I can focus on that and see, and sometimes it's being around recovery. Like, I need to come in and go to the birthday nights and do all those things to see that, because I don't know what that is. I might not even know what he's trying to be, especially at the beginning. I just know he's not drinking. Mm-hmm. But if I can dive into it, and for me, and it'll say it somewhere here soon, but I'm going to say it now. It says a lot of times that it'd be beneficial. This way of living is beneficial for all. And what we take, I am a member of Al-Anon, and not everybody has to go to Al-Anon, and that's one thing I want to be clear. Not every family member needs to go to Al-Anon, but I do. And I do because I discovered that, I can learn about alcoholism and what it is. I can learn about all these things, and I still someone can tell me you didn't cause it, can't cure it, can't control it, and I'm still doing it. Someone can tell me, make boundaries, don't do these things, don't do those things, and I still do it. I make a firm resolution myself that I'm done, and then I go back and I save, and I save, and I save, and I save all day. I couldn't do that on my own. I was my sponsor, so I've worked the 12 steps. I continue to work live in 10, 11, and 12. And my sponsor has a brother who's an alcoholic. Her sister is okay. She has a healthy relationship with the alcoholics, all those things, but my sponsors wasn't, So if you are wondering, I'm here. And that's what they said in the opening. Like, I would love to talk to you and help you kind of see, might I need to work the 12 steps too? You may not. Time will tell. And that's what I usually tell family members.
But also the expectations. So it says the wise family will admire him for what he's trying to be rather than. And as an alcoholic, I want you to do that like when I'm a month in, like 30 days in, like let's pump the brakes. I tell guys pump the brakes. That may take some time, and we need to be okay with that. And our experience too. And it's going to go into detail about the financial thing. And I'm one that, we went through some really tough financial periods in my sobriety, and it's it's going to go into detail about this, but we need to remember this too, that it may take seasons. Like I cannot try to go back and get everything back in in a couple months. Like it may take some time for me. And then it's just a good reminder, what am I trying to be? Who am I trying to be? Am I trying to be a child of God, carrying practicing these principles in all my affairs? Or is this all about, getting this right and getting that right? Because ultimately I can't fix the family. I can't fix Angela. I can't change her attitude. I can't change what she thinks about me. I can't change my kids. I just have to keep doing what I do and allow those things to fall into place.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Now and then the family will be plagued by specters from the past. For the drinking career of almost every alcoholic has been marked by escapades, funny, humiliating, shameful, or tragic. The first impulse will be to bury these skeletons in a dark closet and padlock the door. The family may be possessed by the idea that future happiness can be based only upon forgetfulness of the past. We think that such a view is self-centered and in direct conflict with the new way of living. I'm going to keep going, I think. Henry Ford once made a wise remark to the effect that experience is the thing of supreme value in life. That is true only if one is willing to turn the past to good account. We grow by our willingness to face and rectify errors and convert them into assets. The alcoholic's past thus becomes the principal asset of the family, and frequently it is almost the only one. That's one of my favorite lines in this book. And just recently, I worked the steps 9 years ago, I think, and I've been involved in Al-Anon since then. And I remember going into one of my meetings after when things were just terrible.
Not good.
They were not good. And I was in tears, just crying. I couldn't even talk. And someone outside of that meeting said, I don't know what's going on with you right now, but someday I tell you that you are going to be thankful for whatever it is. And I looked at her thinking that she was crazy because there was pain, there was a lot of stuff there. A lot of things were going on. And it was probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago that I realized this, that wow, to be given this opportunity to share with other families is a great gift. And it really is the greatest asset of our family. Like, there's nothing else that really sets us apart from other families except that. We have the opportunity to be here on a Saturday sharing with you guys. My kids are in this family room over there.
Probably tearing that place up. It's not going to be good. They're not asking us back.
But we get the opportunity, and that is a gift. And I know the alcoholics in here who get to carry the message, it's such a gift. It's a gift for the family members too to get to carry the message as well. Yeah.
And for us, for me, it was like, I need to understand, and this is said to me when I first got sober, but the worst things that we've done will be the greatest assets in here. They will actually be the means by which lives will be saved through me, through my story. And so for me to turn my back because I'm in shame, and shame will keep me sick for a long time, it's just, like she said, the highlight of our lives today is our recovery, is my recovery, is the crazy, stupid, crazy, shameful things that I've done is now the greatest gift that we can share together and share for others.
Mm-hmm. And it's easy to think that I just have to I'm not going to even talk about it anymore. Like, let's just close that. And it's not like we bring it up and we'll continue reading, I think, maybe. Okay.
This painful past may be of an infinite value to other families still struggling with their problem. We think each family which has been relieved owes something to those who have not. And when the occasion requires, each member of it should be only too willing to bring former mistakes, no matter how grievous, out of their hiding places. Showing others who suffer how we were given help is the very thing which makes life seem so worthwhile to us now. Cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others. With it, you can avert death and misery for them. And that's kind of what I was just sharing. But that's the most beautiful, to me, is the most beautiful reading in this book. And it should really bring me some hope. That, because we've done some damage, and we walked through some things, and when I can look back and say, none of that, all that pain and suffering, like the pain is the key to happiness, like it says in freedom for others. So there's also another part of that. If I'm going to be happy and live this life of happiness, there's a price that has to be paid. And this is where I think we're going to talk about the balance and some of the but things that I have to do, and I think for us as a family, we have a responsibility to do, and that's to carry the message, just to be available and not, at church, people know I'm the alcoholic. I'm the church alcoholic guy, It's like everybody says go to him, like if you got a problem, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. And it's cool. That is God's plan for me in my life, and I think it's been a blessing for us.
Mm-hmm. And it's talking about the family here, and then the alcoholic, like they get to do it all the time, kind of. But it is talking about the family. The family can share this with others too. That we can share what happened, what we did, how things are different. We can share it with others, and it's going to be. That's what I needed. I needed some hope. I needed to go into that meeting and hear somebody say, things were really bad. This is what happened, and then this is how it's different, and to have some joy. They'll talk about it here in a minute, but be happy again, because I felt like we were never going to be happy again.
You want to go ahead?
Okay. It is possible to dig up past misdeeds so they become a blight, a veritable plague. For example, we know of situations in which the alcoholic or his wife have had love affairs. In the first flush of spiritual experience, they forgave each other and drew closer together. The miracle of reconciliation was at hand. Then, under one provocation or another, the aggrieved one would unearth the old affair and angrily cast its ashes about. A few of us have had these growing pains, and they hurt a great deal. Husbands and wives have sometimes been obliged to separate for a time until new perspective, new victory over hurt pride could be re-won. In most cases, the alcoholic survived this ordeal without relapse, but not always. So we think that unless some good and useful purpose is to be served, past occurrences should not be discussed.
So, I don't know. It took me some time for this, but in our marriage, she's allowed to bring up whatever she wants. Now, there's a nuance. I mean, some family members I talk to, usually wives, all they want to do is complain about the alcoholic. Like, all they want to talk about is how crazy and stuff. That's not helpful. And then they're going to gossip to this person or that. But I think that's kind of what he's talking about there. It's not helpful. But she knows she has permission. If it serves a good and useful purpose, talk about the struggles that we've gone through and this crazy, stuff that I've done. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. And it is. It's like if we're confronted with a scenario, and I pause and I'm thinking, I'm like, this is the time. I need to share it because this person is going through something similar. And yeah, we'll share it, but not just, guess what? Guess what we've done or what's happened. And I also don't bring those things up either. And for me, I'm very thankful for my program because I do believe that without it, I might pull up those misdeeds of the past. Honestly, I don't even think about them on a regular basis. I don't. But yeah, it's not that I'm ignoring that they happened. If there was a reason that we needed to bring it up again, we would. Mm-hmm. But let's go ahead.
The other thing, the separation part, and we know if you have good sponsorship as alcoholic, wife or no wife, family, job or no job, I will not stay sober without getting connection to God. And we know that. And we actually did not separate physically, but within our house, we separated rooms.
It was a logistical thing. I needed him to take care of kids.
Yeah, like I'm working the steps here. I'm going to work the steps, and we're just going to take. So it was good for us, and that's our experience. We didn't divorce. We didn't. Formally separate, but we did need to take some time apart. And what's beautiful about that today is that she works her program. She has a relationship with God. She's an adult. I'm not her sponsor. I work my program. She's not my sponsor. She doesn't try to tell me what I need to do. I don't, not all the time, try to tell her what she needs to do.
And I don't have to keep track of his
Yeah.
comings and goings. I don't need to keep track of his meetings. I don't need to keep track of who he talks to, if he's talking to his sponsor on a regular basis. He's an adult. And that's not how that's like this mother-child relationship that I was very much stuck into. And there's reasons for it, but let's keep reading maybe.
We families of Alcoholics Anonymous keep few skeletons in the closet. Everyone knows about the other's alcoholic troubles. This is a condition which in ordinary life would produce untold grief. There might be scandalous gossip, laughter at the expense of other people, and a tendency to take advantage of intimate information. Among us, these are rare occurrences. We do talk about each other a great deal, but we almost invariably temper such talk by a spirit of love and tolerance. We're all alcoholics, so this is kind of like bringing the family into what we alcoholics experience in the fellowship. Like we kind of tend to just share stuff. It's just like the craziest things you've done and makes you more qualified in our program. It's nuts. So we're kind of used to talking about the stuff that we've done, but from a family perspective, does the little old lady at church need to hear about all the? Maybe not. Does my mother-in-law really understand the nuances of that? I don't know. Maybe it's a good.
And I just found for me it's not helpful because what's going to happen is we're going to chit chat about it and like circle and never find a solution, and we're just going to be focused on the problem, and that's not going to be helpful for me. And so the person I do talk about it with is my sponsor, who's going to point me to a solution, and not stay in the problem.
If you want to call Angela to complain about your spouse, she's going to give you about 30 minutes. You get one time to complain, and then she's like, we're going to get into some solution now. I've heard her on the phone. Don't call her to complain. She's the wrong one.
I'm not mean.
She's the wrong one.
I'm very kind. But.
Kind. All right. Are you up?
Yeah. Another principle we observe carefully is that we do not relate intimate experiences of another person unless we are sure he would approve. We find it better when possible to stick to our own stories. A man may criticize or laugh at himself, and it will affect others favorably. But criticism or ridicule coming from another often produces the contrary effect. Members of a family should watch such matters carefully, for one careless, inconsiderate remark has been known to raise the very devil. We alcoholics are sensitive people. It takes some of us a long time to outgrow that serious handicap.
Just keep going.
Many alcoholics are enthusiasts. They run to extremes. At the beginning of recovery, a man will take, as a rule, one of two directions. He may either plunge into a frantic attempt to get on his feet in business, or he may be so enthralled by his new life that he talks or thinks of little else. In either case, certain family problems will arise. With these, we have had experience galore.
Okay, I got to talk about this. So this is the first route that we go. As we're sober, we're recovered. Like maybe it's been a long time since we actually made some good money. Or like for me, I wasn't even employable towards the tail end of my drinking. It was just crazy. So now that I can think straight, like people actually like to be around me. I can get a good job. I love that he put this here, and it's good because it's important for the family to understand this, because I think from the family's perspective, you may want the father to go, or whatever, the mother to go get some money or go do whatever it is, but this next paragraph, it's important to read this. So we think it dangerous if he rushes headlong at his economic problems. There's got to be an order. Like I don't want to put the cart before the horse. because my ego will rebuild and convince me that I've got to pour, and I am so, like, I will do this. I will try to rush headlong into my business. We own a business, and I can get wrapped into that thing. I noticed that recently. When we start going through financial trouble, there was a time where we were really struggling, and I called my sponsor, and I mean, she's thinking like, you need to go do this, this, and that. My sponsor's like, you need to go carry the message. You need to go sponsor more people. It's really counterintuitive. It's not what I naturally want to do, and it's definitely not that comfortable, but it's like, we've got to trust God in this, put this in God's hands. But for me, it does not come natural. I love working. I love making money. I love, like, this is all the ego here, and I got to be really, really careful. I'm going to read the rest of the paragraph, and I'm going to let you share. The family will be affected also pleasantly at first as they feel their money troubles are about to be solved, then not so pleasantly as they find themselves neglected. Dad may be tired at night and preoccupied by day. He may take small interest in the children and may show irritation when reproved for his delinquencies. If not irritable, he may seem dull and boring, not gay and affectionate, as the family would like him to be. Mother may complain of inattention. They are all disappointed and often let him feel it. Beginning with such complaints, a barrier arises. He is straining every nerve to make up for lost time. He is striving to recover fortune and reputation, and he feels he is doing very well. Another way to put that, I'm living on self-will. And that's very dangerous for someone like me. It's very dangerous for someone like me. I'm sure.
Yeah, and I will say, when he was saying that, I was kind of like, you need to make some money. We have 5 kids. We have expenses. Things have to get paid. So, but that might be my first tendency, but then I realized when he does it, I'm like, okay, this is what he's got to do. And I can see it, like someone might tell me, hey, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. But then God really does pull through. Somehow we were able to pay bills. I don't know how, but we were. He provided. So go ahead. Should I continue?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Sometimes mother and children don't think so. Having been neglected and misused in the past, they think father owes them more than they are getting. They want him to make a fuss over them. They expect him to give them the nice times they used to have before he drank so much and to show his contrition for what they suffered. But Dad doesn't give freely of himself. Resentment grows. He becomes still less communicative. Sometimes he explodes over a trifle. The family is mystified. They criticize, pointing out how he is falling down on his spiritual program. So yeah, yes, because so my resentment grows, right? Because okay, you're out doing your thing. I'm here. I'll just say my experience with these kids, and now you're barking at this person. But if I can, back to what we said, patience, tolerance, and love. Like if I can give him be patient and know that this is going to pass. Like I can't have these expectations, and we learn in the program these expectations are resentments in the making, right? And so when I have those expectations, there's probably going to be a resentment that forms in me, and that's not going to be good for me. So yeah, if I can try to treat the alcoholic with some kindness, some patience, help the family, help the kids too, because obviously, and the good thing about when that happens is that they have a program. My husband repairs with our children. Not to say that he's not barking down, there are times he gets on a kid and I'm like, ooh. But he goes and he makes an amends to that 5-year-old, that 6-year-old, Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
And that's another point. I'm going to fall down on my spiritual program, like daily. It's gonna happen. And that, as an alcoholic, like I got freaked out when I would, or I would like not pause, and it's like, no, it's gonna happen. The defects are going to come up. It's going to happen. I'm glad he put that there, because the family needs to understand that. I need to understand that it's just, I'm not perfect. I have the tools to do this, but they're gonna come up.
And I have to let him fix it. Like, it doesn't need to be me coming in, even with these little children, and saying, and explaining something away. I can let it be. He's gonna have a program that's gonna help him make amends with that.
I don't yell at my daughter, but I have 4 boys. This sort of thing can be avoided. Both father and the family are mistaken. Though each side may have some justification, it is of little use to argue and only makes the impasse worse. The family must realize that dad, though marvelously improved, is still convalescing. They should be thankful he is sober and able to be of this world once more. Let them praise his progress. Let them remember that his drinking wrought all kinds of damage that may take long to repair. If they sense these things, they will not take so seriously his periods of crankiness, depression, or apathy, which will disappear when there is tolerance, love, and spiritual understanding. So I want to say this. There's a couple different types of loved ones. There's the one that's like, this is how I am as a person. You're going to know exactly where I stand at all times. Like, if I'm not happy with you, you're going to know it. But then there's this other type where it's like, they're not going to talk about how resentment they're not going to bring it up. They're going to act like everything's okay, but it's going to come up 3 years from now. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I like that he said this. It's going to take some time for even them to process everything that they're feeling. But for her, what she does a great job of for me is, if you really want to affect the opposite person, just model. She models what patience, tolerance, and all that stuff. Like, she models it. She doesn't try to fix me or tell me what I'm not doing. She just models it, and I'm like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to be doing it. Like, that's cool. I that's appealing to me. So
I'm going to read.
Keep going.
The head of the house ought to remember that he is mainly to blame for what befell his home. He can scarcely square the account in his lifetime, but he must see the danger of over-concentration on financial success. Although financial recovery is on the way for many of us, we found we could not place money first. For us, material well-being always followed spiritual progress. It never preceded.
I think we
hit that.
Horse,
okay.
Yeah.
Since the home has suffered more than anything else, it is well that a man exert himself there. He is not likely to get far in any direction if he fails to show unselfishness and love under his own roof. We know there are difficult wives and families, but the man who is getting over alcoholism must remember he did much to make them so.
Okay, this is hard because when I go to the meeting on Tuesday nights, everybody loves me. I get hugs. People clap for me. Like, they congratulate me. Everything is good, and I'm sponsoring guys and things are great. But when I go home, I don't get any of that. Nobody claps for me. Nobody tells me I'm doing a good job. And it's challenging. They don't even understand. They think I'm an idiot most of the times. But it can definitely be challenging to realize that I'm the one, and it told me prior, I'm the one that has to take the lead. I'm the one that has to show unselfishness and love. And I think I struggled with this for many years, and maybe sometimes now I'm trying to get better, but where it's like, in recovery, but when I get home, all bets are off, and that's not good. We need to make sure we're living this thing at home. Mm-hmm. Maybe even first. Maybe that should be the priority. Am I really living these principles at home? And my sponsor reminds me, am I praying on page 83 of like patience, tolerance, and all that stuff in the morning?
And my personality is not the type to also point out, hey, you're supposed to be living this at home, if I don't experience that he is. And I think I've just lived and adopted this, like, I live on my side of the street. His sponsor, he's got a sponsor who he's working with, and they're going to figure it out. And eventually we'll get that. We're figuring out balance, a little bit of balance at home. And I feel like I'm a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling mom of 5, and I feel like I make amends to my kids every day because I do have to practice. I have to pause. I have to do all these things that I learn. The oldest is 10, the youngest is 5 months. Yeah. So I get the opportunity to live it out at home. And when I'm talking to some new people, like maybe y'all know some people with little ones at home, like it's not like I can't go out and do service work sometimes. Like, I can live this at home. I can. And when I am able to do out and go do that stuff, I will gladly. But right now that's just not, we do what we can. But
And the other thing is, a lot of times when I react, or if I react, it's typically out of shame. And I don't know it in the moment, but it's shame that I maybe caused what's going on, the chaos that's happening right here. And it's just a good reminder to read this and understand that that's where that's coming from. Each member of a resentful family begins to see his shortcomings and admits them to the others, he lays a basis for helpful discussion. These family talks will be constructive if they can be carried on without heated argument, self-pity, self-justification, or resentful criticism. Little by little, mother and children will see they ask too much. And father will see he gives too little. Giving rather than getting will become the guiding principle.
So for me, my working a program myself really helped me to see that, because otherwise I was just so, they say the alcoholic is self-centered, all that stuff, but that I realized too that I am too, seeing what I can, even some of my giving was in order to get. That it looked good, and to me, I could lie to myself and say, oh, but I'm so humble, and I'm so this, and I'm so that. And it really was from an innocent place, but that for me working a program, I realized I was in self-pity. I was justifying all the things that I was doing. I had some resentment that I would have told you that I'm not angry, I'm just hurt. And I make it sound so much better, because anger and resentment sounds so bad to me. But I don't want to have those feelings. But that my anger, that it really was some resentment. But go ahead.
Okay, so this is the second route we go. This one's actually better, but still not good. Assume, on the other hand, that the father has, at the outset, a stirring spiritual experience. Overnight, as it were, he is a different man. He becomes a religious enthusiast. He is unable to focus on anything. As soon as his sobriety begins to be taken as a matter of course, the family may look at their strange new dad with apprehension, then with irritation. That's the glazed look that I was explaining. There is talk about spiritual matters morning, noon, and night. He may demand that the family find God in a hurry or exhibit amazing indifference to them and say he is above worldly considerations. He may tell mother, who has been religious all her life, that she doesn't know what it's all about and that she had better get his brand of spirituality while there is yet time. So my wife has been religious her whole life, okay? She was able to keep a job, just crazy stuff like that. Like she graduated in 4 years. It took me 10 years and partying and stuff crazy. But when I come home after a night at the home group, I want to explain to her that the root of her troubles is selfishness and self-centeredness. It's like if you just did it this way, you'd be happy. And I remember calling a sponsor and I said, dude, she doesn't want to hear any of this stuff. And he goes, yeah, go read page 128. And it's just, and I guess for the family member, we have been in the dark maybe for some of us, our whole lives. We've been enslaved by this disease of alcoholism, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And now we've been set free and we don't know what to do with this. This is our first experience, in freedom. And it's just crazy. I newly sober, I was drinking myself to death. And now I'm preaching at the church, telling people what real spirituality looks like. It's telling everybody and that's just what we do. I think it's common. I'm completely guilty of it. I am so bad at this. And you want to talk about that?
Yeah, and he was gone for 3 hours, and I'm doing the dishes and taking care of kids and doing all those other things. I'm like, well, I did the dishes. There's things have to be done for these children too. So it's not like this. Great, I'm glad, but I'm doing the dishes. That's kind of what, yeah. Let's keep reading.
Yeah, we got to catch up.
When father takes this tack, the family may react unfavorably. They may be jealous of a God who has stolen dad's affections. While grateful that he drinks no more, they may not like the idea that God has accomplished the miracle where they failed. They often forget Father was beyond human aid. They may not see why their love and devotion did not straighten him out. Dad is not so spiritual after all, they say. If he means to right his past wrongs, why all this concern for everyone in the world but his family? What about his talk that God will take care of them? They suspect Father is a bit balmy. So, yeah, the family has to realize too, like, you did so much, right? You did all the things to try to help them, and it wasn't enough. But I need to see that, yeah, I'm powerless over this disease. What happens, whether they stay sober or not, whatever they do, I am powerless over it. And some people, I didn't really experience this too much, but some people are like, I did everything, and then now you're, this stranger who helps you through this stuff real quick, this alcoholic, and I was there with you the whole entire time. Mm-hmm. So it can be hard, but we have to remember, beyond human aid. I didn't have the power. I didn't have the power to do that.
He is not so unbalanced as they might think. Many of us have experienced Dad's elation. We have indulged in spiritual intoxication. Like a gaunt prospector, belt drawn and over the last ounce of food, our pick struck gold. Joy at our release from a lifetime of frustration knew no bounds. Father feels he has struck something better than gold. For a time he may try to hug the new treasure to himself. He may not see at once that he has barely scratched the limitless load, which will pay dividends only if he minds it for the rest of his life and insists on giving away the entire product. If the family cooperates, Dad will soon see that he is suffering from a distortion of values. He will perceive that his spiritual growth is lopsided, that for an average man like himself, a spiritual life which does not include his family obligations may not be so perfect after all. If the family will appreciate that Dad's current behavior is but a phase of his development, all will be well. In the midst of an understanding and sympathetic family, these vagaries of Dad's spiritual infancy, and that's a great point, spiritual infancy, because I think I've arrived. I'm the guru now, but I'm actually a spiritual infant if I'm doing that, telling everybody about it. Okay. The opposite may happen should the family condemn and criticize. Dad may feel that for years his drinking has placed him on the wrong side of every argument, but that now he has become a superior person with God on his side. If the family persists in criticism, this fallacy may take a still greater hold on Father. Instead of treating the family as he should, he may retreat further into himself and feel he has spiritual justification for so doing. Let's read a little bit more.
Okay. Though the family does not fully agree with Dad's spiritual activities, they should let him have his head, even if he displays a certain amount of neglect and irresponsibility towards the family. It is well to let him go as far as he likes in helping other alcoholics. During those first days of convalescence, this will do more to ensure his sobriety than anything else. Though some of his manifestations are alarming and disagreeable, we think Dad will be on firmer foundation than the man who is placing business or professional success ahead of spiritual development. He will be less likely to drink again, and anything is preferable to that.
And when I tell guys that I sponsor, and my sponsor told me, we're gonna pour, once we work the steps, you're gonna go carry the message. It's gonna be a little bit imbalanced for a while. Once we get a good foundation down, then we're gonna make amends to the family and start balancing that out. I remember calling my sponsor. My wife had just had our second child, new baby, and I was on my way to a commitment, which is like, I have 2 commitments. I'm doing all this sponsoring guys, and he's like, turn your car around and go home. I was like, I didn't know we could do that. And he's like, no, you need to go home and be with your wife. And so it's just, again, bear with us. This is actually better for us. We have to do these things. She's not going to understand. She didn't like it at times. She still doesn't. This is what I have to do. This is what I have to do to get well, so that when I'm home, I'm present and I'm healthy.
And his time away was on my list. I was resentful toward AA, toward the whole program that saved him. Like it seemed counter. Why? But it's because it's real. It takes this is a real thing. It takes away from the family. I had to go to things myself, by myself. All my children, all these things that I was like, he should be here. Everybody else's husband is here, and he wasn't. And I need to hear this as a family member, that's the best thing that they could be doing in these early days of sobriety. So. Okay,
I'm gonna get us going here. We got a few pages.
We may have to skip a little bit, but.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
yes.
So those of us who have spent much time in the world of spiritual make-believe have eventually seen the childishness of it, this dream world has been replaced by a great sense of purpose, accompanied by a growing consciousness of the power of God in our lives. We have come to believe He would like us to keep our heads in the clouds with Him, but that our feet ought to be firmly planted on earth. That is where our fellow travelers are, and that is where our work must be done. These are the realities for us. We have found nothing incompatible between a powerful spiritual experience and a life of sane and happy usefulness. One more suggestion: whether the family has spiritual convictions or not, they may do well to examine the principles by which the alcoholic member is trying to live. They can hardly fail to approve these simple principles. Though the head of the house still fails somewhat in practicing them. Nothing will help the man who is off on a spiritual tangent so much as the wife who adopts a sane spiritual program, making a better practical use of it. There will be other profound changes in the household. Liquor incapacitated father for so many years that mother became the head of the house. She met these responsibilities gallantly. By force of circumstances, she was often obliged to treat father as a sick or wayward child. Even when he wanted to assert himself, he could not, for his drinking placed him constantly in the wrong. Mother made all the plans and gave the directions. When sober, father usually obeyed. Thus mother, through no fault of her own, became accustomed to wearing the family trousers. Father, coming suddenly to life again, often begins to assert himself. This means trouble unless the family watches for these tendencies in each other and comes to a friendly agreement about them.
So there are times when, you step up. You step up because someone has to. And so that when they come and try to exert them, it feels like, well, wait a second, now all of a sudden you're here and this is the way we do things, and then you're coming in and do this, and it causes some conflict. And we just have to be aware of that and talk about it. And maybe allow them to do it imperfectly, and that's okay.
Do you want to make one last point?
No, I think we can.
We can keep, and then it'll just be a little less for questions, but we can finish it.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay.
Drinking isolates most homes from the outside world. Father may have laid aside for years all normal activities, clubs, civic duty, sports. When he renews interest in such things, a feeling of jealousy may arise. The family may feel they hold a mortgage on dad so big that no equity should be left for outsiders. Instead of developing new channels of activity for themselves, mother and children demand that he stay home and make up the deficiency. At the very beginning, the couple ought to frankly face the fact that each will have to yield here and there if the family is going to play an effective part in the new life. Father will necessarily spend much time with other alcoholics, but this activity should be balanced. New acquaintances who know nothing of alcoholism might be made and thoughtful consideration given their needs. The problems of the community might engage attention. Though the family has no religious connections, they may wish to make contact with or take membership in a religious body. Alcoholics who have derided religious people will be helped by such contacts. Being possessed of a spiritual experience, the alcoholic will find he has much in common with these people, though he may differ with them on many matters. If he does not argue about religion, he will make new friends and is sure to find new avenues of usefulness and pleasure. He and his family can be a bright spot in such congregations. He may bring new hope and new courage to many a priest, minister, or rabbi who gives his all to minister to our troubled world. We intend the foregoing as a helpful suggestion only. So far as we are concerned, there is nothing obligatory about it. As non-denominational people, we cannot make up others' minds for them. Each individual should consult his own conscience.
Okay, real quick. So let me read this, because this next page.
The next,
and
okay.
We can stop.
Okay.
So we have been speaking to you of serious, sometimes tragic things. We have been dealing with alcohol in its worst aspect, but we aren't a glum lot. If newcomers could see no joy or fun in our existence, they wouldn't want it. We absolutely insist on enjoying life. We try not to indulge in cynicism over the state of the nations, nor do we carry the world's troubles on our shoulders. When we see a man sinking into the mire that is alcoholism, we give him first aid and place what we have at his disposal. For his sake, we do recount and almost relive the horrors of the past, but those of us who have tried to shoulder the entire burden and trouble of others find we are soon overcome by them. Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to read, because this is something that we thought we really need to work on this. So we think cheerfulness and laughter make for usefulness. Outsiders are sometimes shocked when we burst into merriment over a seemingly tragic experience out of the past. But why shouldn't we laugh? We have recovered, past tense, and have been given the power to help others. Everybody knows that those in bad health and those who seldom play do not laugh much. So let each family play together or separately as much as their circumstances warrant. We are sure God wants us to be happy, joyous, and free. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to stop right there. That's good. You want to share on that?
No, you can go first.
It's just something that we as a family need to remember. We need to, stuff happens, life happens, it's really challenging, and this is a good page for us to remember. Like, we need to enjoy, we need to laugh, we need to play together, we need to be happy, joyous, and free. And some of this stuff is, like I said, it's challenging because there's some very painful things that have happened. But that's a good reminder for me that came up.
Yeah.
All right.
And just to say too, that was one of the things I was shocked about in an Al-Anon meeting, is that people were laughing over these things, and I'm like, this is a really serious thing, and you're like, this has caused some serious harm, and but I understand it now reading this. It's like, but we have recovered. Like, even in the Al-Anon world, we use those words. We have recovered from our problem, and yeah, we can laugh about our mistakes. We can laugh about all the things that we did. And all of us are laugh now. I laugh now too, but that was helpful for me for hope. Oh, these people have some joy. They have some happiness. I had none, or felt like I had none. And yeah.
Okay, let's open it up.
Okay, my question is for Angela. As a family member, earlier at the beginning of this, you said, not every family member needs Al-Anon, only time will tell. What does a step one look like for Al-Anon?
So, step one, it's the same words, that we are powerless over alcohol, that our lives have become unmanageable. But what we kind of say is we are powerless over the alcoholic, and that our lives have become unmanageable. So my sponsor had me put my husband's name. I am powerless over Mayan, what he does, what he doesn't do, whether he stays sober, all the things. So I have to realize that all the things that I'm doing that I think are helping, that are making him stay sober, or in fact probably making him more sick, and also get to the point where I say, okay, I'm spinning my wheels and doing these things. I'm saying I'm not going to do it anymore. I still do it. That unmanageability in my life was a train wreck. He was the one who, he had some issues himself, but my life was kind of, there's a line in here, oh gosh, it's talking about the bedevilments, but as I'm reading the bedevilments, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having problem with my relationships. I'm having problems with my job. And I'm not the one who's an alcoholic. So that kind of clicked for me to say, okay, maybe I do have a problem. I just couldn't identify the problem for a long time. And that's my deal, is he kept saying, you need Al-Anon, you need Al-Anon, you need Al-Anon. And I was like, what are you saying? These are like Greek words, I don't know. And I'd go to meetings and I'd be like, yeah, I think I'm good, I'll just show up. But I didn't want to work the steps. And it took, I had to get to a point where I realized that I am powerless over him and what might result. And that I have to get to a point where I realized that. And that was very difficult, and then start working the steps myself, because I have to know what I'm powerless over. So.
And for the record, we're not, now that she's recovered, Al-Anon, we're no longer allowed to tell each other, you need ... Like, we're not allowed to do that anymore.
Or you should do.
Or you should.
My sponsor told me, she said, you don't know what you should do. Why are you telling someone else what they should do? And I did think that. I think it's just common sense. You should stop X. You should do Y. All these things. But
So I have a question for Angela, but I'd love Mayan's perspective on this too. We got a lot of people here in early recovery today. So in those first, couple of weeks, couple of months that Mayan was on this program, were you skeptical that it was going to work long term? And kind of what did you do or say that might have expressed some of that skepticism? And then how did Mayan react to your reaction to his early weeks and months of sobriety?
Yes, so I would probably say there's some skepticism, but that I was hopeful. Okay, maybe this will be the thing. But that I probably didn't say a lot. I'm the type, and he said this, that it keeps it in. and just keeps it in, is quiet about it, but just super hopeful that maybe, but also getting to the point where you're like, how much can I take?
Mm-hmm. So for me, as hard as this is, she's not God. So I don't care whether she likes it or not, or is like, I need help. Like, she may be on board or not on board. I can't care. I'm not going to be here if I go that other. So it's like, it's a complete surrender of that relationship and everything.
And not to negate the fact that, I mean, if you see these things, well, they said last time, like, family members have seen this cycle where they're like, I quit. You believe them for a while, and then it's like, okay, I'm hopeful this will be the time, but yeah, I'm not really in control of that. And whatever happens, even if it isn't the time, and if it doesn't stick or whatever it is you want to say, I have a program that helps me to see that it's gonna be okay. I don't know what the results are gonna be, but and my sponsor kept saying this, she's like, and because there's lots of fear. Well, what else are you fearful about? Well, then what would happen? And then what would happen? And she made me say these things out loud and say, okay, in that worst possible thing that you're afraid of, what then? Would God still be there? Would your higher power still be there for you? And you have to say yes. So.
Good question.
Sure. So I'm pretty early in sobriety. I'm divorced from my children's mother, but when I was pretty heavy in my disease, I was making a lot more money. So I kind of used that as a way to kind of pay them off, as you will. Now I don't make as much money, but I'm a lot more present, but kind of feeling that guilt for not being there all the time. Now that I'm still present, I don't make as much money, but just trying to balance that guilt with, not spoiling your kids. Because I kind of wrestle with trying to, they're kind of used to me buying them all these things, and I'm just trying to be more present, and I don't want to spoil my kids, but I also kind of feel guilty for, some of their childhood. So it's just kind of a weird balance. So I don't know if you've had any experience with that.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great question. And I think I can relate to what you're saying, where it's just like that shame and that guilt. And when I was drinking, that was kind of my way of like, get out of, and so now I'm present. So I don't know that I have like a answer as far as but I do have experience, and it just takes time and God and surrender and kind of a daily thing. Even today, because there's some stuff with, especially my daughter, she's older and she's probably experienced some stuff. But all this stuff is in God's hands. That relationship is through God is going to get healed in His time. And so I don't have to try to do anything. I just need to be, like you just said, I just need to be. And so that's the new way of life that's totally contrary to how I think. Because I want to fix this. And if I can just let go of that and just stay connected to the power, that's going to work itself out. And they're going to be okay.
Hi. I am also, I kind of relate both because I am the alcoholic, but I'm also a stay-at-home mom who homeschools with 4 kids and 1 on the way. And my oldest is 10 and my youngest is 2. So I just didn't know living the spiritual, just having that in the home, but also being the alcoholic in recovery. I didn't know if you had anything maybe that you guys could clash together. I was 2 years sober, and then about a month ago made the choice to drink again, but reached out quickly, took the action, and I'm here. So I didn't know if you guys could handle a question with that.
You want me to start?
Yeah, you start.
So we are also, we do church together. That's how we met. So there's some of that involved in our approach to our spirituality. But I think what's beautiful about us, and I think I noticed it with my kids, is just the amends process. It's how we implement that and how we need to clean this stuff up. You know, it's okay to make mistakes, but you need to clean this up. We're not perfect. I don't know that we have. I don't know if she has an answer as far as like what we try to do. We do try to live this way of life, and she and I are in the book all the time sponsoring folks, so it just kind of happens. But I don't know that we necessarily came together and said, hey, we need to, I mean, did we have that conversation?
Well, I will say too, kind of, is that time, that's an issue with small children too. They know that dad goes away. What do we say? Excuse me, I go away. And it's important that I do these things. Why, you know, they might ask, why do we have to go up there and play in this room for an hour and a half? You know, they ask those things. And we just share with them, like, I think we're not at an age yet, it could be coming soon, that we really share with them. They know the words alcoholic.
They found out I got arrested multiple times.
They did, and they shared it with their friends. They
They
shared
wanna know
that their
about
dad
that.
was in jail. And I'm like, oh. They shared, and they're going to, you know, but I'm like, oh, what else did y'all say? What else? Like, be inquisitive about it too with what they know. But, you know, they were sharing something, and they're like, I think we share with them, like, mom and daddy go to help people. We help people. Eventually, we will tell them, you know, they don't need to know all the information, but the information that they do need to. And I sometimes struggle. Someone asked me one time, they were like, well, what about like that genetic component? Like, are one of your kids going to be an alcoholic? There are some children that I'm like, I'm not sure which room she's going to go in. I just gave it away because we only have one girl. But anyway, I don't worry about that, because I'm hopeful that us, and not hopeful, but I have faith, I have trust that us working a program and this being a part of their life, all their life, that which if they stray, or if one of them has the allergy, we have 5, I'm sure. One of those kids has an allergy to alcohol. I'm sure. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to the future, but that I'm hopeful that they seeing us living this out and being involved and working our program, they'll get, and maybe they won't have to have as much suffering.
Right.
And that they'll get a solution more quickly, and be more open to it. But maybe not, and maybe, you know, I will say too that I think that knowing that we go and we help people, that's important. We're there. Sorry that you have to have a babysitter. One of my kids said, why do we have to have babysitters all the time? And I felt guilty. But then my sponsor was like, Angela, you're home with them all day long, 7 days a week. It is okay. And it's okay for kids to want you to be home, but to know that this is what you have to do.
Real quick, just because actually your 2 questions are similar for me, because I have guilt that we're not, like, I want us to be spirit, like we need to be doing this and that. And so I will, like, there's times where I'll try to like fabricate or like make that happen, manufacture that. But that goes back to your question and answer is like, I can't do that. I just need to keep working my program, and God's got this, like the way and it just kind of happens. So it's like, because I want like a formula of having the perfect family, and we love God, and all my kids are great. And it's not reality for me. So, but it's a great question.
And I don't know how much is too much time, you know, but being in communication with your sponsor. I mean, I said, do you know somebody who has 5 kids and homeschools and does like the exact same scenario? And she was like, I'm sorry, you're a lone ranger. Like, I don't know, like you're out by yourself. But just being in that, like, seasons, learning the seasons of motherhood, and that, this season I may not be able to do as much. This season I could be doing more, focusing, but talking to your sponsor, saying, okay, what do I need to be doing? But also being, every day you have the opportunity at home to work your program at home with your kids. On top, you know, you get to come here and do all those things too, but it's always there.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Because they make me so mad sometimes, so mad. But I do love them. They're sweet.
Yeah, in the worst days that I have, at least I'm here. At least I'm trying, you know, I'm here. So we just have to show up.
Was talking about whenever Mayan was gone, like you didn't have to worry about, you know, where he was, or or what he was doing. And I'm curious, what you did, what y'all did together in terms of rebuilding trust. Like what challenges did you face, and what steps did you take to address those challenges? Because clearly alcoholics, we do a lot of damage and we break a lot of trust. So rebuilding that, can be really tricky. What did you do?
So that was difficult. And early in, or not early, but at one time I heard someone say, like this question was asked, and I heard a woman say, I don't trust my spouse. I trust in my higher power. And it's not, that sounds terrible, but like trust is rebuilt. And I think it takes time. Like that's kind of the theme. Everything just takes time. And I feel like it was nothing, because at first, yes, I wanted to know exactly where he was. If it was, he should have been home at this time. I was like, where is he? Did he stop along the way? What is he doing? All those things. Then, I started working a program, and that helped. That helped because all these crazy things that I think of doing that I thought of doing all the time, like I should drive by the meeting, I should check his pockets, I should look for these things, those things come up. Throw all the alcohol away.
Yeah, one time you said you didn't drink for 3 years.
I didn't, whether I should drink or not. That's
you should
a big
drink.
thing.
Family members, you can drink.
I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. I can take it or leave it. I thought that somehow, but what if he kisses me? Like all these thoughts, what if he kisses me and then he tastes the alcohol in my breath and then like all these things. And I went to Al-Anon meetings for a long time saying like this, I wanted this answer, like, am I allowed to drink? And for years I wasn't able to, a lot of people were like, oh, we shun no alcohol, but I enjoy drinking. I'll be honest, I do. Yeah. I think I don't get drunk, but I do enjoy some alcohol. I'm not an alcoholic. And realizing that I can enjoy those things. He's allergic to alcohol, that I can as well. But that trust is rebuilt, I think, over time. And when I'm trusting in my higher power that things are going to be okay, because really my fear, it's a lot of fear. I can't make trust, or I can't make myself trust more. It's not going to happen. It's just going to take some time. And he kind of proves, like, you can trust me.
Over time,
like by their actions. And that, no, I don't. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie, Find My app is really helpful for a lot of things. Not, but it's what am I using it for? Is he almost home? I don't feel like he's not answering his phone, and I'm just tired. I want to know when dinner needs to go on the table. But when I can use that same thing for good or to get sick in my head as well. I don't know if I'm answering it very well, but do you have anything to add?
Yeah, for me, it's just, I really couldn't focus necessarily on whether she trusts me or not. But I do need to be aware. I do need to be aware. Okay, I was going to say this. We as alcoholics, I have a tendency of wanting to create this like perfect amends, like what I'm saying to her. And what I needed to realize, and what I still need to realize, is it doesn't matter what I say formally in that amends. It's about my actions. It's going to take time. She needs to see that this is actually working, and that's the only way. But I can't necessarily. It's not necessarily about whether she trusts me or not. I need to focus on God. I'm powerless. Okay, I will drink again if I don't focus on God. So it's not about her trusting or not, or like I can't get wrapped up into that. It's like I'm gonna drink. That's what I do. I'm an alcoholic.
And I will say too that I know when something's not right. I've lived when he's been in his addiction. Like I know behaviors and things and to trust that God. And my sponsor helped me come up with this, that God's going to reveal to me what I need to know, and only that much. And that I can trust God to reveal the things, because I felt like I had to be on guard because I didn't want to be taken blindsided, or by something, and I had to be on guard so I could be ready for it, because somehow it would make it easier or whatever. I realized that doesn't happen, but what I can do now and what I see now is that I trust that God, and I tell him this. Things are not right, you know, or if things don't seem off, like, God, help me, reveal to me what I need to know right now. And that's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Okay, so on the top of page 127, it talks about like how dad's going to change and whatnot. And one sentence there, it says like, let them praise his progress. So I know that with ego involved for the alcoholic, there's, you don't want to feed too much into the ego because you don't want that ego to grow, which then can result in different consequences. But, what did you do to praise him during success and what worked for you without building your ego?
Well, thankfully for him, maybe for his ego, I'm not a free words of affirmation giver.
No.
That's a little bit of a struggle. It might be painful to get some words of affirmation. But yeah, so that wasn't really a problem.
Not a problem.
I'm not the
Not an
cheerleader. I'm like, good, you're doing what you should do. Thanks. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for doing what you should be doing.
What most human beings do. It's like,
so
that's what I have you guys for in the fellowship.
Well, I have to learn to maybe say, yeah, you seem to be doing well. Like, not in what you're doing in the program, but I can see he's different. And to say, wow, I've noticed that.
That's a good question, though.
But.
Can you join me with giving them a round of applause one more time?
Thanks for listening to RecoverED. If this episode has offered hope, clarity, or comfort to you, please consider making a donation to the Magdalen House. By paying it forward, you help make sure the next alcoholic gets the same chance, completely free. You can give anytime at magdalenhouse.org. We release new episodes every first and third Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Want to learn more or stay connected? Visit magdalenhouse.org or find us on social by searching The Magdalen House. The Magdalen House is a privately funded 501c3 nonprofit in Dallas, Texas, and every program we offer is possible because people like you choose to give. Thank you for helping us change and save lives.